What's up, everybody? Hello, this is Convos with Lola. This is our first live stream. We are live.
Woo, woo, woo.
This is amazing. And I'm Medi, your co-host. I have
Annie. I am the other host of Convos with Lola. And we are live, like Medi said. Thank you to our great friends and partners from Invictus Media DSM. So thank you guys so much.
Yes, we could not have done this without
making this happen.
This is an amazing setup, and we are here today. I'm super excited about this. I know Annie is very excited about this as well.
I've been giddy.
She's been giddy, ladies and gentlemen. She's been real giddy. I'm excited about this because this is an organization that is very near and dear to my heart, and I've gotten to know these two amazing women that are sitting in the middle of us. I'm going to try not to get emotional, but we are here with Raise the Bar Initiative, formerly known as the Women's Barbell Classic. I have to my left Miss Annie Brees, and then to my further left, I have Abbie Mork.
Two Annies today, like two curly-haired Annies. Yes. This is about to get wild.
It is. This is. Things will be said.
Yes.
Moments will be shared.
I like it.
And it's all good. So without further ado, ladies, please introduce yourselves and share a little bit about yourself.
You go first.
Too late. I got you. Too late.
What do you want to know?
Gosh, you know what? Anything and everything. Like, share a little bit about like you personally, just a tidbit, and then we'll go to Miss Abbie, and then we'll talk about your powerful organization that you ladies have.
Okay. My name is Annie Brees. I have 3 kiddos. Co-founder of the Raise the Bar Initiative with Abbie Mork. And it's not my full-time job. My full-time job is running a business called Balance 365 that I started about 6 years ago, helping women find freedom in food and fitness. But really, this came as sort of kind of a passion project for helping women explore ways of getting stronger, feeling stronger, because that was our experience that we both shared. It was like, when you get strong, everything changes. And you're like, I mean, you guys know, right?
Yes.
Like,
yes.
I don't have to tell you. So I swear a lot. I
it's an Annie thing.
Yeah.
It's an A thing. That's a true Abbie thing.
You swear too?
Just a little bit.
Okay, great.
In Spanish and English.
Oh,
it's great.
Okay, maybe we can talk. Teach me a few words. And I'll probably cry. Like, I probably cry. Like, I get emotional over this shit. I mean, like, it just because it's been such an impactful experience in my life of how it's changed everything. Yeah. So, I don't know, maybe some tears.
Maybe.
Yeah. Well, I'll be looking forward to it.
Yeah. This Annie over here doesn't cry very often. Like, minimal. So
when I do.
Oh, God. It's intense.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah. I hold back, but our organization has made me cry more in the last 2 years than I've ever cried. And they're tears of joy.
Yes.
They're tears of joy. And I never felt that emotion much growing up, I would say. Mm-hmm. So to
introduce yourself.
Okay. So I'm Abbie Mork. And like Annie, I am a co-founder of Raise the Bar Initiative. And it is not my full-time job. I am a chiropractor by day, sometimes call myself a voodoo doctor. And I just grew up with a passion for sports. And my parents instilled some really good values in me of you be you, work really hard, don't expect anybody to give anything to you. And so it just kind of went throughout my entire life. And then I come back here and I just wanted to lift weights and everybody wanted to run a 5K. And I'm like,
why those
anyone? So then I started getting into the lifting community and started spending time with people. And like, this is where I was meant to be. And then I just started meeting people. I've met everyone in this room because of strength training and lifting weights. And I think I love the relationships that I've built throughout my entire life. I have groups of girlfriends that are diehard. I can go to them with anything. But I love that the relationships that I have built, because a lot of them, just like them, they tell me the honest truth and they help me show up better in the world, and they'll listen, and it's just a lot of good has come from that. So I've put a lot of time in building my own business the way it made sense, and then this project came about between us, and it really was a passion project that just blew up in a great way because the community needed it at the end of the day. Like, everybody just needed it. So here we are.
And it didn't start as the Raise the Bar Initiative. It started as
the Women's Barbell Classic,
Yeah.
which was really just an event. We were talking with our friend Megan McCoy at a get together, I think like one fall. And we were like, hey, I had just started CrossFit, coming from powerlifting, started CrossFit. You were still in powerlifting. And I was like, there's a lot of fucking strong women in this town. Like, let's put them all in one roof. Like, let's one room and see what happens just for fun. And then we did it, and it was amazing. Yeah. I think I cried the whole day.
When was the first Women's Barbell Classic?
It was at 22nd Street Barbell.
But when?
When?
Yeah.
So it's this would have been so it would have been 2018.
18.
It would have been like April 25th or 24th.
Yeah, how many participants did you have? Because I love this part of the story. Go ahead.
It was right at 80. We had 80 the first year.
And this gets better.
And then so we then went to go do the next year, and we realized very quickly, we're like, well, we have too many people interested, selling too many spots. We can no longer do this inside 22nd Street Barbell. So then we teamed up with Ignite and Grimes, and then we realized, oh, well, we could take this up a notch. So we had, because people sign up and then people for whatever reason can't do it. We had like 120, 125 last year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, just wait.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Just wait.
So then we knew it was like, okay, this is snowballing in a great way. How do we harness this? I was like, well, we've got the space to do it. I was like, let's do 150 this year.
And?
Well, no,
6 o'clock in the morning, it goes live.
And we had
I remember that.
So, I'm going to let you in on an inside scoop here. I like to, what would you, like, what's the word? Like,
You like to elaborate.
Level up? 40 notches?
It's not,
or like
40 notches.
Let's say that like the over promising, you're like always reaching for the extra stretch.
Yes. And Abby is like behind me being like, don't say that. How are we going to flip it? Like, how are we going to do that? And I'm like, but it's going to be great. And Abby's like, but I have to actually do that.
Yeah.
So anyways, we were telling people it's going to sell out. It's going to sell out. I didn't really know if it was going to sell out. Like, I
thought it was based on the buzzes that I'd heard that were kind of coming out of different pockets that weren't connected.
Yes.
So like I kept hearing these people over here. I'm like, well, they're not even remotely connected to these people. And then they're not connected to these people. And if each one of these people starts getting a team, and then you have the other people plus people from last year, I'm like, 150 spots is going to disappear.
Yeah.
Didn't know. And then I was like, it's going to go live at 6 o'clock in the morning. I am not an eye tech person. I don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, at 6 o'clock, at least I won't be in seeing patients yet, so I can sit at the computer. And then all of a sudden just, whoosh, and I'm like, what is going on?
You broke the internet?
Felt like it.
I called her at 6:30 and I was like, Abby, are these the spots we've sold? And she's like, these are the spots available. And it was like 30, we were down to like 30 some.
Yeah,
and I was like, we have 30 spots left.
Yep.
We sold out in 53 minutes.
Yeah.
Yes. Because I remember seeing that on Instagram and that post. And I was just like, because we had people at my gym that were like, we're going to sign up. And they're like, okay, fine.
Too late.
And And I mean, I was like, there's nothing left.
Yes.
Well, and we had girls in our own strength class.
Amazing.
I think one got in. Like we had a handful of people that were like, I didn't sign up in time.
What do you think made the difference? What do you think made that spike up?
I think, well, there's a lot of reasons, but I think the year 2, a lot of it, was the show that we'd created. And then the people that showed up and then people saw it. And then Invictus Media did a lot of videography for us, and it allowed us to show that to the world. But really when you come to the event and you see, like you relate to the 14-year-old girl that's doing it, or you relate to the 70-year-old woman that's doing it, or you see, like you connect with somebody and then you realize you can do it, and then you get a cheerleader like one of us. It's like, this is what strength training is done for me. You should do it. You should do it. And then, I mean, I think you said there was multiple people that like, I think it was your friend with Roosevelt. They were saying like, they finally convinced these women to sign up. Like they were wanting to throw up at the idea of signing up, and then they finally did it. And they were so excited. And I was like, yeah, that's what it's about. Like kind of stepping outside your comfort zone.
I have to say, because I was there, I did not compete, but I coached Sam Holstein, who we've had on the show, and who you ladies know very well. And she had an amazing story to share. But I coached her, and I have to say, like, it was just an incredible experience to be behind the scenes. Like, just what you ladies have done and put on. Like, it was it was very magical, you guys. Like this was, I cried. I mean, I cried for women I didn't even know about. Like, no. And I was just like, yes, they did it. And it was just so, so beautiful. And it was, I think what made it really powerful for you ladies too, and why it just kind of blew up, is that for the first time, a lot of these women got to experience true positivity and encouragement from other women.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which
And some girls from Easted came and they said, you know, like when you go to one of our events, it's like they're also, a lot of them are swimmers, and they're like, you know who's friends with who because they're cheering each other on, and if they don't like you, they don't pay attention to you. And she's like, you have no idea who's friends with who. Everybody's cheering everybody on. They genuinely want you to do well, and they're like, I want to be a part of that.
Yeah.
So to create that ripple effect where instead of breaking somebody down or constantly comparing yourself to somebody else, just actually stepping back and being proud of who you are and what you've done, but then, you know, taking somebody else and being happy for them, you know? I mean, one of our girls said it was the happiest moment of like her entire life. She made me cry. I cried multiple times that day. And then we were in the back doing a video at the end of it. And, you know, she's getting asked just the question. She's like, why do you do this? And she breaks down crying. And I'm in the room and I just take a sheet of paper and I just start bawling. And my mom's like, what is going on with my daughter? I have never seen my daughter cry like that. Yeah. And it's so, I mean, you work so hard and then for it to happen and for it to go so well, but you're so happy and excited, but your body's starting to, you know, run down. So every emotion just comes flying out of it. Yeah. So, I mean, when people are like, oh, are you going to host a 2-day event? And I'm like, I am honest. I don't physically think I can take that emotional high twice. I would rather go hard all day than go and then go. Like, it's so hard.
Well, it's quite a production. I mean, you ladies did a phenomenal job of planning everything out. Like, there was not a hiccup. If there was, we didn't know about it.
Yeah,
and
there was
everything.
some
there was some definite hiccups.
But that's important. Like people, like you said, people don't necessarily know that. But what I think that you've created, and maybe for your peace of mind, Abby, is that there are so many people in the community now that are invested in this and that have been affected positively by this, that I don't think you're going to do this alone the next time. And I don't think that you have done it alone. With the community that you have built might make it possible to do a 2-day event. I don't know.
She's like,
I've already presented some ideas to Abby, and it's like, you know,
level of enthusiasm. Tell me.
Well, and so to come to the next year and it sells out, and I'm already going in my head, and before I even speak to them, I'm sitting here calculating numbers. Because you have to remember, I don't want this to be, I could let everybody in the world in, but then it makes the event terrible because it's going forever. And like, people don't want to come and be like, I've lifted for 12 hours at meet, because we've done that. We had a meet where we lifted at 9 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Well, and what people don't realize is like, there are volunteers and spotters and loaders and judges that have to be present, and having those people also commit, you know, right?
I got a little hole in there.
Hours and hours and hours out of the day. Like, that's a really tough ask. And it is hard work to be like mentally present and focused.
Yeah, because I mean, load those weights and I'll sit up front there and I start doing math and I'll catch them, because, you know, that's just how it is.
So we were in the back in your office, like calculating, okay, if you have 1 minute till the bar's loaded, it takes, you know, X amount of time per lifter, per attempt. And we have this many lifters and we want the meet to be like, you know, like we gave it some serious, we weren't just like throwing shit at a wall and seeing what sticks. It was like, no, this is very intentional to maintain a really positive lifter experience and allow as much people to many people to participate as possible.
It was well planned.
It was calculated.
Very precise.
Well, with 300 lifters, that's 8 to 10 hours of lifting. So we were then starting to like push it forward. So instead of starting at 9, you start at 8. And then, okay, how late can you go? And, you know, we had a wait list within a half a day of 186 people. We released it, sold out, went to 300. And that to me is me stepping outside my comfort zone. The largest meet that I have hosted by myself, a sanctioned meet on behalf of, you know, the gym with 2 platforms. Prior to that one was like 80 people. So then I had done the Women's Barbell Classic. I did 120 at 3 then. That's now my best, the most I've ever done. And then to take that and turn it to 300 on 3 platforms. And it's like, I want to be there for people too. Like I want this to be a good experience for everybody. And I don't want to, let more in. And that's the thing is at what point do I let in too many and then people come back and the experience isn't the same?
Yeah. And I have to brag about her for a minute because she's an amazing meet director. Like the organization that goes behind
I try.
flighting these lifters, weight class openers, communicating attempts and awards and calculating what team won and who won best lifter and all all this stuff, the communication that goes out ahead of time and after, she does an amazing job. She's meticulous.
Appreciate that.
So amazing. I could never do it. I'm just out there throwing bullshit in the ideas.
We see the balance.
We joke that I'm planning a party and Abby's planning a meet. I've got the DJ, the photographer, you got all the fun stuff, and Abby's got all the swag. That's my thing. And Abby's okay, but there's actually lifting.
We have to do this.
But you know what? They're both necessary because that's so much part of the experience, right?
Absolutely.
So I want to circle back because I think this is really important. And if you haven't been to the Women's Barbell Classic meet or seen it or heard about it, you asked why is it catching fire so much? You guys know.
Yes.
There's an insane amount of courage required to step on a platform by yourself. You are front and center. In our meet last year, we had spotlights and the room was kind of dark.
Oh man, it was so cool.
It was it was just you and that fucking barbell, right? Yep. And that takes so much bravery. And there's something about seeing a woman go up, scared shitless, do this thing. And it's not really about if she makes the lift or not, but just to exhibit that amount of bravery and then to cheer for herself, celebrate herself, unfiltered, so raw, unapologetic. I swear there's something in women that's that in me sees that in you. And I connect with that and I want that and I want to experience that. And it's not uncommon to hear women that are in the audience, why am I crying?
Yes.
This is just so emotional. And it really is. And so if you come and see it, and thanks to Invictus Media for all the media coverage and Jenny Coleman for the photos, you see it and you're I want in on that. I want to what she's having.
Well, and I think, internally there's a lot of struggle and there's a lot of internal struggle right now with all that's going on with the pandemic.
Absolutely.
Emotionally, people are sometimes in not that great of a space. And, some people talk to about it, some people don't talk about it, some people get inward. And so when they go to these events, they're look at that woman doing this. I want to be able to do that. And they may not tell you that, but we've always said, 20 seconds. By the time somebody touches that doorknob, they're pretty committed just to get there. So when they walk in the door, just be that welcoming person and just snatch them up and don't let them change their mind. We had a girl, Jessica, who came to one of our seminars and she was I'm terrified. I'm so afraid to be here. And I was and she's and I've wanted to come to 20 seconds train. I want to do this, but I'm too afraid. And I said, you call me up. I will come meet you here. You can train with me. I will introduce you to people. And she is just so happy now.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need somebody to walk with you for a hot second to get that comfort. And so that's where, to me, I've seen a transition of wanting to just walk with somebody and give them that tool, the barbell for many of us, and sharing that with somebody so that they can experience that for themselves. Some people, I wish I would have gotten into strength training so much sooner. It just didn't exist.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think we all feel that way and stuff. And I think that, I think it's important that we give this opportunity to create a safe space. And that's what you ladies have done. Because you both belong to 22nd Street Barbell, correct? And so it is would you say it's a predominantly male?
Yeah.
Well, what?
That's awesome.
Yeah, you can walk in there now. Sometimes you've been in there on a Saturday morning and there's 12 women and a dude.
Yeah.
When we started, you, me, and there was maybe one or two other females that were lifting in that gym, and that was just the way it was.
Yeah.
And now when I go in there, totally there's way more women.
Yeah. I think that what you ladies have done is you've manifested what's possible for people.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I think it's so powerful. It's you've enrolled everyone around you in a possibility. You were visionaries. You were okay, this is possible. And now people believe you and they're enrolled in that.
Yeah.
They're enrolled in you and your vision, but they're also now see this as a vision for themselves.
Yeah.
I think that's super powerful, and it's what leaders really do.
Yeah.
It's a process of enrollment and convincing people of their own potential. So that's super badass, and that's why you fill the gym with women.
Yeah.
The other thing is, though, you have another project
Yes.
that I'm very excited about that you started last fall, which you expanded.
Yeah. So this was
surprise.
This was actually,
Yes.
and it's a perfect segue to talk about how you wish you would have started shrink training
Yes.
earlier on in life. This was kind of always my like long-term vision. It was just more a matter of like getting our legs under us, making sure we had funding and support and resources to make it available. But we started an after-school lifting program for high school girls. We kicked it off in East this last fall. It was kind of shut down in the spring because of the pandemic, but whatever, we're not done yet.
The Barbell Club.
Just on pause, yes. So we called it the Barbell Club. It was open to high school girls. We met Monday and Wednesday after school for like 2 hours. We essentially taught them how to lift.
Yeah.
And then we spent the last like 40 minutes or so talking about building your self-esteem, your confidence, your self-worth, healthy boundary setting, relationships with friends, how to take care of your body, self-care, mental health. And it was amazing. It was just, every day I left that school and I was like, this is the greatest thing in the world. And what was really great is the majority of participants at East in the fall and the spring were not athletes. And I think that's a really underserved population in high school is girls are curious about the weight room. In my experience, girls are curious about the weight room, but they're not going in there without a team, without a girlfriend, without a coach. And so to offer them an opportunity to like, hey, like you can come into the weight room with us and we'll show you like how to do it. Because they're trying to use the weight room alongside the football team or, you know, the soccer team. And it's like,
That's intimidating. It's overwhelming.
As an insecure high school girl, which I wasn't going to do that without like my teammates or without a group of girls by my side. So we kicked it off at East, had an amazing fall session, got started on the spring, press pause. We're going back to East in the fall, into Roosevelt.
We're doing that.
I'm like, we're doing that. Do you want to tell them?
I mean, I didn't know we were doing that.
Oh, sorry.
No, I mean, I knew we were
okay
doing
with that?
I'm okay with that.
Okay, are you okay with that? Was that a secret?
I didn't think it was a secret anymore.
No, we shared it in a Facebook Live. So like a while ago, but I don't.
Shit, how'd I miss this?
So why don't you? I'll let you share the news on your podcast.
Well, I am going to be leading Roosevelt's Barbell Club fall this fall. So I'm really stoked about that with the help of these wonderful women here because I'm not doing that alone. No, but so I'm pretty stoked about that. And I'm really excited. I'm hoping that we can get the momentum and everything. So right now it's just, obviously with the pandemic, we've had some hiccups, but we're gonna make something happen.
It's a little TBD, but we have the utmost support from Roosevelt and their staff is like, I think they had a team of 11 or 12 teachers from Roosevelt High School participating that had plans to participate in the Women's Barbell Classic 2020. So and it's really important to me that whoever we put in front of a group of girls is in alignment with our values and missions and they're not participating in self-deprecating talk and they're super encouraging and come from a healthy mind and body foundation and you exhibit that and I hope
and the cat is out of the bag now because Annie is going to be
I know she had said that. I was like, you're in on it too.
Yes, she's in on it too.
I am really excited. I think that when Maddie first shared with me the participation that she had with the East girls, one of the things that she mentioned that really caught my eye or my ear in this case was the importance of diversity, even in what you guys have done, which is involve women in a predominantly male sport in one sense, but also women of color and Hispanics and just diversity in general. So I'm in.
Yeah.
Like, that was a no-brainer for me. It was like, fuck yeah.
Which I think to have Medi at East, so a little like insider scoop, Medi came to with me to Roosevelt, and we were trying to recruit girls for this program because
East.
Sorry, thank you, East.
Like to East.
We went to East because like we're not affiliated. I didn't go to East. I don't work at East. I don't have any connections to East. It was really just like, hey, who's willing to do this with us? And Becca, one of the strength and conditioning coaches at East, was like, hey, I would love to bring this program to East. And she opened every door she could to make that happen. So huge shout out to her and thank you to her. But also on that note, the physical education teacher made it possible at East, again, to separate the girls from the boys. So we had an opportunity to speak to probably 150 girls.
Oh, easily.
About like what we were doing. And it was just such a great contrast because here's me like big and beefy and like, and then here's Medi who's like, people always like underestimate my strength. And like, they told me I couldn't do it. And it was just such a contrast to my experience to have them both represented was so great. And to have Medi as like a woman of color speaking from her own experience and her own like cultural like experience was just so valuable. So and so important.
Yes. I think you were probably more professional than I was during that because I swore a lot.
Oh yeah, you're like rough, edgy. Like when your hair came out, I was like, okay.
I feel like teenagers really see that.
I do remember. I do remember like speaking at one point, and there were teachers in there, and I go, oh. My bad. I apologize. I was like, sorry, Annie.
Yeah, but it was authentic, and
I
like kids can see that.
Yeah,
you know,
that was really important. That was for me. That was really, really important because I remember being that age and like having someone, talk to us and try and share something that they thought we could relate to, and I'm going, are you fucking kidding me? Like it just really went in one ear and out the other. And so for me, it's really important to be authentic and be real. And it's not that I'm trying, like, I don't think we're trying to relate to them, but I just know that like, I don't appreciate the bullshit and they don't either. And they don't like to, and they don't like to be treated as if they're ignorant because they're experiencing a lot of things that we didn't experience when they were their age. And so I think it's appropriate to, give them a certain amount of respect for the experiences that they went through and that they're going through and stuff. And so that was something for me that I definitely wanted to,
what I feel is so powerful of the fact that you're bringing this to high schools is that looking back at my high school experience of my childhood is that girls had two options. You were either pretty or smart. Strong was not one of them.
No.
Like that was not a thing. Like there was like two maybe athletic girls in my class. Though I don't know if you guys know, so I'm not from the US. I grew up in the Dominican Republic, so it's even weirder to talk about these things. Because there's not such a thing as a strength program in schools or anything like that. So just imagining the impact, like just knowing the impact that knowing my own strength has had in me at 30 and in my late 20s, just like you said, how far would that have taken me if I'd known that there was another option and that I didn't even have to choose. Like you don't, teaching girls, like you don't have to choose between being smart, pretty, and strong. Like you are, it's not that you can be, you are the whole thing.
Yeah.
And you don't have to choose how you present yourself because there's also a community. Like you're not alone. And that I think it's what's really gonna, I mean, I don't know if you're nervous now, but you better get it together, girl, because this is blowing up.
I know. Well, and that's been the biggest problem is people, I was like controlling it. People are like, well, I want you in my school. We want you out in Waukee. We want you in Ankeny. We want you here. We would love to be there.
Yeah.
I would love to be there. This is a for funsies on the side thing. We don't get paid. And like we were working really hard and growing the bank and doing the things. Like that's kind of where I am in the role of doing that. She does a lot of the barbell club. I show up as I can. I do as much as I can because going to the barbell club reminds me how fortunate I am to be where I am in life and the growing ups that I have because some of the conversations we have with these girls are just how they talk to themselves or the things that they're thinking. And it's very sad, and they're at home life sometimes. And, we all, like, at the end of the day, I go home and say, we all have problems. We all have things. But to put it in perspective and realize I am very fortunate and very lucky, and I'm a part of this community, and I want to do it right. Like, popping up into a school and just saying, well, you go teach it. Okay. Mm-hmm. It's not like we got in there and we're like, hey, 2 people is not anywhere near enough. So I was meeting with anywhere from 1 to 3 people a week, interviewing people to come who wanted to volunteer inside the barbell clubs. And I'm like, well, you're going to talk to me first. I need to see your intentions and you're a good human and like what's your background. And I was like, I need you to be able to show up, tell your story if it's asked, and be vulnerable. And I need you to be willing to just walk up to a girl who's in the corner by herself, or do something and just interact with her and, be a part of our mission. And there wasn't a single one that wasn't, obviously. And they were so excited to get started.
Yeah.
I mean, we have so many people that want to help, and it's just like putting that all together and doing it in a right way. And financially, we have to make it happen too.
Well, and we're not just trying to do it. We're trying to do it well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not like, I get super protective of the women in my community. I'm not like willing to expose these girls to just anyone just because you said, yes, I want to volunteer.
Right.
Like, I need to make sure that our mission and our values align with your values. Otherwise, we can just shake hands and part ways. Like we want to make sure that we're providing the best for these girls. And if that means we do it slower and fewer and more methodically, then like, we're okay with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I agree. So.
And we are getting better at asking for help.
I was going to say,
Tell me about that. I know the challenge for it.
We, like, Abby and I are like...
It's just better I do it myself because then I know it gets done and it gets done right.
Yeah.
I've always had that, which I'm getting better at it, at giving
So what's the new story?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think
what are you replacing that for?
We still do.
I let go a lot. Actually, behind the scenes of the 2020 Women's Barbell Classic, I had developed a volunteer leading committee. I had 3 women that were going to oversee 60 plus volunteers for the day. And I said, I can't run 300 women and then run 60 some volunteers. I can't do it all. And I had met with them and they were like organized. They had spreadsheets. They were in contacts. We were getting t-shirts. We were rolling. I was like, oh my God.
So
I had what it feels like.
I had to find somebody who because I'm organized and but there's that level above me. That's my sister Erin and a few people with color-coded spreadsheets.
Wow.
And
awesome.
That's better than mine in their business. And I found that.
That's awesome.
And I have another sister, Shelby, who does marketing, and she had helped the year before, came out of nowhere. Both my sisters and my mom came out of nowhere last year and saved the 2019 event. For sure.
Wow.
With the silent auction and everything. So family came and rallied, and I knew I needed that. But it's about finding the right people and being comfortable and letting go. Yeah. I knew that they had it. So we did that. And then I was like, okay. I found them. That's all I needed to do was find the volunteers and then found the people. And they were on autopilot on their own. So to me, I actually had a woman who was going to kind of be my shadow that day too. And she was going to make it so that I could become more available to be present in the meet. Because in 2019, I look back at it and I'm like, I remember like 5 lifts the whole day.
Yeah. You were running. I remember you were running around everywhere.
Too.
Both of you, all 3 of you, because Megan was lifting. I remember Megan was lifting, and she'd immediately get off the platform and she'd run to her computer and she'd be like, "Okay, you're next." And I'm going, "What is going on?" And then she would set up. You two were
because we had a massive fire on that. We didn't see it coming. And
well, and because the thing that's so special about the pro and the con about the Women's Barbell Classic is there's so many new lifters.
Yes,
and these new lifters are so anxious and oh my God, it's just like chickens with their heads cut off. And I mean that in the most loving way. I remember that feeling.
And you get gooey inside.
Yeah, and so it was very clear to us that we had some holes in the volunteer lineup, you could say, that we had anticipated for 2020. It was trial by live and learn, right? But it was we needed an expediter at every platform saying this is the flight order. And so that was mainly Megan and I, and Abby's running more high level umbrella stuff. But it was literally we needed help getting women in order. So they were on the platform at the right time, for their lift, lifting the right weight. And it was just, so, but back to your point, like, it's really, it's not that other people can't do it. It's more, and I think this is just like I don't want to stereotype females all in one group, but like, women just aren't good at asking for help. You know, we're just like, but
trust me, when you brought it up, I know why I got very interested.
Yes. Like, tell me the secret. We suck at it. How do we do this? Yeah. And it is like equal parts just asking for help, and then met with letting go that like they probably aren't going to do it the way you want it to be done, and can you accept that? And and then like acknowledging like I'm at capacity. Yeah. I'm at my limit. Yeah. But there's this. I mean, the narrative for women is like like keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. And the truth is like we usually get it done. And every time we get it done, it's proof that like, oh, see, you could do it. Yeah. So just buck up and do it again and do it again. And you just keep moving those goalposts. But eventually it's like, I'm tired.
It's tiring, but it's also, I think that, and I love that this conversation is around precisely a female event and a female empowerment event. If we are not capable of asking other women for help, we are not empowering them to do the thing. Right. Yeah. Like when I ask somebody to help me, it's a gift. Yeah. It's like, I trust you to do the thing. And when somebody asks me for help, it's like, oh, they're entrusting me with something that's precious to them. So I think that the whole shifting that narrative around asking for help is like, oh, it's when I allow somebody else to serve me or help me, it is also a gift for them. It's not only for my peace of mind. And I think that in an event such as the one that you do, it's in a way, when I'm lifting, I'm counting on somebody shouting at me. And like, it is in somewhat like they're building the adrenaline for me because I'm scared as fuck. Yeah. So
it's the truth.
So Annie, you're going to do, next year?
Sure.
You heard it.
It's live. It's live, ladies and gentlemen. It's live. She's going to do it.
This is how I get caught into the law.
I know. Yeah. So here's a funny story. So Annie said she would never do a CrossFit competition. And she was like, oh, I'm not a competitor. I'll never do a CrossFit competition. And her good friend, Eric Dominguez, like pigeonholed her. Because he was like,
sounds familiar.
Oh yeah.
That's how we end up.
And how exactly did he pigeonhole you? Because this is the best thing yet. Because I asked her multiple times, you should do a CrossFit competition. Let's do a CrossFit competition.
So he promised me I didn't have to be good. It was like we can suck. And we were like maybe 5 to last there.
Lie down.
But for me, I think that there was. Honestly, I think that it was serendipitous, the timing that he asked me and the date of the event. So it was the day after my 31st birthday. So I was like, if there's not a sign in here of me needing to buckle up, then I don't know which freaking thing is. So I did it, and it was as horrible as I thought it was going to be, but it was also very beautiful, even in the topic of asking for help, because one of my gym members, Wanda, she showed up for me. She was like, "Oh, you're in a competition," and she showed up with a bag. Here's everything you're gonna need, and now here's your warm up. And I'm like, "Yes, ma'am. If you got my back, I got this." And that made it way easier for me. And now I'm doing the women's barbell class.
Yep. Yay. He also pre-registered her and paid for it, basically.
And then told her she was also if I don't have to spend money, I'll probably do it too.
And then and then told her that she was signed up to his house, which was great. So
I mean,
the name and the name. So we're both immigrants. So the name of the team was Two Immigrants Walk Up to a Barbell. So I was like, I cannot let you use that with anybody else, I suppose.
No, it doesn't fit.
It doesn't fit.
So
no, I mean, we did. So let me tell you something about Annie Brees.
Let's hear it.
If Annie wants something, she doesn't take no for an answer.
Not at all.
Like that's a whole other level. And she messaged, I think it was a polo. I don't even remember. I try and go back and find this. And she's like, would you do the CrossFit Circus with us as a team? And she comes back and I'm like, hell no. Like, I'm not doing this. Like, and she
background, you had never done CrossFit.
Yeah, I was going to say. You
I'm not a CrossFitter.
Because I remember being...
Wait, what was the timeline on this? What's the timeline on this? So she asks me, and I'm gearing up for the largest 2-platform meet I've ever done. It was in January. She asked me going into this, and I was like, in the CrossFit event was what, 2 weeks after that?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I'm like, Hanny, I squat bench dead. I do some accessory work. Like,
Squat bench dead.
like I don't do this stuff. Like this is crazy. And she's like, it'll be fine. She's like, how many chai teas do I have to bring you? Every day? Every day for like 3 weeks? How many hummuses and carrots do you want? And she literally kept going.
Here's what really sold you, because I don't want to give away my secrets, but I'm a really good negotiator.
I didn't get any of those chai teas, by the way. I brought you one. I was supposed to get one every day for like 3 weeks.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
it's okay.
You can make up now. You can make
No,
up
it's
for it
fine.
now.
She bait and switched me.
Here was the underlying principle of why I thought we needed to do it, was because
She got to my core.
So many CrossFitters had come to support the Women's Barbell Classic because the powerlifting, the powerlifting only community in Des Moines is really small. And so most of the women that were supporting our organization were CrossFitters. Now, a lot of CrossFitters have gone on to do powerlifting events actually since dipping their toe in the Women's Barbell Classic. But initially, like, that was who was supporting our, like, that was who was coming to our meets, right? And so I'm like, Abby, like, we asked them to step on the platform and do our thing. Like, now it's time for us to like go do their thing.
Okay, so I asked you to step on the platform and like pick up a deadlift. Like, you're talking a minute. I had to sit on an assault bike for an 11 minutes. Like, that whole time on the platform doesn't even equate to 11 minutes.
Okay, but
I could breathe.
This is great.
You mentioned the assault bike. I completely understand.
Thank you.
Fuck that.
Can we fast forward to the outcome though?
Oh, yes.
It was great.
Because we did the scaled event. We came in 5th.
Yeah.
Yes, 5th.
Well, I think, and
We killed it.
well, and so Megan said, she was like, I was a little concerned because she's like, I don't know, like, I don't know, like, are you an athlete? Like, you're an athlete, but can you transition and keep like capable of transitioning over to this style?
Can you do
and
these
like can you do this thing?
Yeah.
Like, she didn't know if I could do this thing. I'm like, I don't know, but I mean,
I knew.
You learned how to
I
clean. You learned how to clean a barbell in like what was it? It was like
I literally
record time.
I went to a CrossFit gym. I learned how to get what an assault bike is and how you try to use it. I had to learn the same thing with a rowing machine. I had to learn to clean. I had to learn a wall ball. I had to learn those things, and we did it in like, it was a 30-minute workshop. And I actually broke out in a really bad stress rash. Remember that?
Yes.
I was in tears. I was so bad leading up into it from all this stuff that had kind of happened. And I was like freaking out. And I went to my acupuncture guy like right before he gave me, that's the first time I didn't itch and I made it through the competition. But I was so stressed out. Well, because this is me. This is me in the Women's Barbell Classic and Raise the Bar Initiative and everything. Like, if I'm going to show up, I am not going to be your weak link.
Right.
And I did not want to. And it's not that I see myself as being weak or whatever, but I want, when I show up to compete, like, I want to perform and give my best and like try. So I've got these two people that can go RX if they wanted to. And it was so much fun, like, because I love a team dynamic. I love pushing. We worked so well together. I would be with Annie. I would then be with Megan. They knew, like, we would work around my weaknesses of a clean, and I was okay with that.
What's funny is, like, come competition, the 2-day competition, Abby was like, okay, so here's the workout, and this is how we're going to break it down, and this is like, you're going to do strategy. And I was like, the CrossFitter. I love it. Show up and like, YOLO, like, whatever, like, we'll figure it out as we're doing it, which is like so true to like me, and Abby's so true.
She's like, it's true to your natures.
You're going to start here, and then I'm going to start, and I'm like,
you know what, like, respects to you, because like I always joke at our gym that I want to be rich enough to buy a bike and a rower and light it on fire. But like, that's all the time. Money. That's all the time. I aim to have.
Yeah.
So like being introduced to those elements, like on the spot, and be like, I'm gonna do it. That is
impressive.
Amazing.
And cardio's not my jam. Y'all know, like, I'm like. I will lift
just like
some
my
weights,
spirit
do
person.
whatever.
Yeah, right. She's your kindred spirit. Cardio
my heart like that. I was just like, because the day one it was that I had the high volume because of the weight. Like, I had to clean something up. It was a thrusters. And so I had to do the high volume thruster. And then you had to go over the thing.
I remember the wall.
Abby
I did
Ryland
it.
literally caught me before I face planted because my legs locked out. on that event.
Oh.
So she catches me and then I barely make it across. Then event number 2, I sit on a salt bike for 11 minutes. Event number 3 was
what was I doing when you were on the salt bike?
Yeah, I was like, why did you?
You guys
I
were
was
doing
axle clean.
You guys were.
Yes.
You guys had to do the.
The axle bar clean.
It was the axle bar cleans and that, and you're like, I just can't rotate the cleans that quickly that we were afraid that was going to happen.
Yeah.
And so then the third event was squat for 2 minutes, straight 2 minutes. I literally finished that and my legs were just stuck like that. And I was like, I can't do this. And so the next day we're driving in a winter storm and I start laughing in the back of the car. Couldn't stop.
You didn't have a voice.
I didn't have a voice. I literally got the giggles and they're like, what's wrong with you? And I had just tears rolling down my eyes and I was like, I'm delirious and mild case of whatever the heck that is. I was coughing. I was like, huh? Yeah. I was like, whatever.
Is this what this is what this is all about? I want nothing more to do with it.
I was loving every minute.
Yeah.
It was so much fun.
Yeah,
I was so much pain and so much fun.
Yeah. It was fun. Would I do it again? Maybe it would have to. The thing that I look at the other events that they've done and the events that they had catered well to me.
Yeah.
The other ones they've done since then do nothing but terrify me because there's a lot of Olympic moving.
The sandbag worm didn't appeal to you.
That one doesn't bother me because it's a squat, up and over. But when you have max cleans and stuff like that, and then a lot of like walking on your hands or pull-ups and stuff like that, that starts getting out of my ability. And because I've gotten older.
You don't want to die.
No, and to me, it's a risk versus reward thing. I don't want to die. And number 2, I have to show up to work and work on patients. Yeah. And if I blow something out or I'm hurt, I can't physically do my job.
Yeah.
So I just, I enjoy doing that, but at what cost sometimes, is the question I ask myself. So, if an event rolled around and it was similar to that again, I would be for sure go on that. But heavy max clean, never going to happen on this.
Yeah. That negotiation that we have to make now is that what is worth it?
Yeah.
And it's not, and I don't even think it's about age. I think it's our circumstances and our decisions and our priorities.
Yeah.
And we have to make them all the time. We jokingly talk about CrossFit, but it's I think it's a negotiation we do.
Oh, absolutely.
We're
every
not,
day.
I'm not sure about your athletic ability, Annie, but
very small.
Medi may be winning some medals, but
no.
I'm not winning any medals. This has to be fun for me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And part of being fun is a challenging aspect. I went and I gave it my all, and I was challenged and I was pushed and I sweat and I got huffy puffy and I hurt a little bit. But it's not. There's a line there that if that crosses, I'm not coming back.
Yeah.
And I think that's why back to the beginning of the show when Abby was talking about everyone wanted to run a 5K. That's why I think it's so important that we continue to offer these opportunities because not everyone wants to run. And when it really comes down to exercise, you have to do what you enjoy.
Yeah. Yep.
And if lifting is it, great. Come hang out with us.
Any type of movement, that people enjoy, I think is, important to recognize and stuff. But I think, we talk about competition and everything. And I think that it is so just so important because people see competition as being one thing, winning and losing. They don't see it as the personal challenge, the personal gain of the experience of competing. And so I have a question for you ladies, for you, Abby. So yes, nervous. But what was one thing that you learned when you did that CrossFit competition? What was the biggest lesson that you learned out of all of that? Because like you said, you just got done telling us you were going through all of these things. You were planning, a powerlifting meet. You had to learn on the fly how to do some movements that you knew very well that other people had been practicing for months, years, whatever. Yeah. That is intimidating. That can be very intimidating. And we have this tendency, I think, sometimes to compare ourselves to other people. But what you did was extremely courageous and brave because you were just all right, I'm going to do this because I have team members that are counting on me and I'm going to give it my all. And I think that's important to recognize. We need to do that more often. So tell me.
I think, and this is something that being a part of this community has done, and it kind of reiterated it for me, is that, did you ever grow up and there was that slogan on your t-shirt that says failure's not an option?
Yes.
And that
Vaguely.
was my mentality.
Yep.
I was a softball pitcher. I was a whatever. Losing was failing. I never like talked about it, but to me, I was always going to outwork you. That was my mentality. I will outwork you to be better than you. And I remember the first time I ever failed a squat and I put it into the rack. And it was kind of like, I stood back up without the bar and coach was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I am." And he's like, "Well, you're going to try that 2 more times." And so the idea of putting yourself out there, being vulnerable, you know, you can go Brene Brown all you want, you know, and just putting yourself in a position to try something where you feel vulnerable and you may fail, but what you may learn from that or experience from that or gain from that, like, is so much better than just being like, well, I'm never going to try. So I stepped out into this world where I was like, you know, I knew so many of the people there because I've gotten, you know, so I just assumed these people would just like flood me out of the water. Like, and I just realized, you know what, if I show up and I just work hard, like whatever happens, happens. And I'll be proud of like what I did. And I was super happy with how we performed as a team and as friends. Like it was friends at the end of the day. And I met new people and people I didn't even know were coming up to me. She's like, "When you're rowing," she's like teaching me how to row. I didn't know how to row. She's like, "You really got to pull." And the second she did that, my stuff just shot through the roof.
Yeah.
So people just, you know, stepping outside and like being okay with just giving my all and meeting some new people willing to help me. Like that was what I really enjoyed. And I love to be a part, like, you know, we said, I was like, I really stepped into it because the CrossFit community stepped into mine. And I felt, okay, I ask you to step on mine, I'll step into your stage.
Yeah.
And I will do what you ask of me and I will give it my all. And that was just, it was just a lot of fun. Like I completely agree. It was super fun. Would I do it again? Depending on what it is, maybe. And just like how it maps out and plays. But to me, I think CrossFit did that for me. I think the community of people I put me around have done that. I think the Women's Barbell Classic does a great job of doing that, of stop comparing yourself to what everybody else is going to do. Because if people are like, well, I'm not strong enough. I'm going to tell you, you're never going to be strong enough. I see the best people in the world, lifting, in the powerlifting community. I mean, at my body weight, drug-free, 300 some pounds is your bench press you have to be competitive. Wow. It's never going to happen. And that's okay. But it doesn't mean you shouldn't show up and you shouldn't try and you shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't encourage the person who does it, who has that, and she'll probably turn around and cheer right for you back.
Yeah.
So I think that this whole community has realized, just put yourself out there. Like the reward is going to be so much higher just by putting yourself out there. And, you know, go up and introduce yourself to somebody that you're like, hey, you know, I've seen you and I you know, and I have this question. They're all going to be like, absolutely would love to help you. Let me know what I can do. So that was a long answer. A super long answer.
That's okay.
It wasn't really. I didn't even give one answer. I think I gave so many answers.
So what did you learn? So I'm going to ask Annie the same thing. So
what was the question?
So was that your first CrossFit competition, Annie, or not?
You've done one before. You've done the Waukee one, I think.
Yeah,
or something like that.
I had done it. I think that was my first CrossFit circus, but I had done a couple. I've done a couple. I know I did Girls Gone RX.
You've done Girls Gone RX, yeah.
Maybe some other. I don't know.
You could do some fundraiser ones.
Yeah.
Maybe some just duels though, but not 3.
Yeah.
But for you, what was the lesson like in your very first? Like if you can remember.
You know, I think for me personally, this is something. This is always something I'm trying to get more comfortable with. Is just getting more comfortable being a beginner or sucking at something. And for me, it's like my perfectionist attitude. Like if I can't be the best, then I'm just not going to do it at all. Because not being the best is just like that's embarrassing. And like if you're not winning, then you're failing, right? Like and actually, there's a lot of opportunity in the middle. Yeah, like it doesn't have to be just one or the other. It's just like not good or bad or right or wrong or perfect or failing. Like actually, you could just like have a lot of fun in exploring what that middle is. So, and that's really something that comes up with CrossFit. Because you enter those competitions, you don't know what the workouts are going to be. Yeah. And it could be like your favorite thing. And it's like, oh my God, this is great. You're like salivating.
And it's so easy to over and underestimate them.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. And I notoriously come out of the gate way too fast and I blow my load. And can I say that?
I can't.
And I'm blow my load. Yeah. And I'm like, oh shit. I am now gassed and I have 9 minutes left.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It's just like being okay sucking at stuff. And like, that's part of getting better at anything. It's like, you have to expect that I'm going to suck at this. This is going to be challenging. And this is actually how you get better. You don't get better by things being like comfortable and cozy and great and rainbows and unicorns all the time. You get better when shit's hard and it's challenging. And it's like, that's the takeaway.
Since you mentioned Brené Brown, is the whole idea that it's not, oh, I'm going to do something even if I fail. It's like, you're going to do something knowing that you're going to fail.
It's part of the process.
There's going to be something in here.
Yeah.
I would say training with Wes at 20 Seconds, one of the first things he ever said to me is, you need to get comfortable getting uncomfortable. And you need to do it quick. And I was like, okay, whatever. What the hell do you mean? Like, I'm going to get uncomfortable with what? Like, and I mean, when that bar is loaded to whatever it is for you, that there's this number, and it's almost like you're like, I have tried that thing so many freaking times. And it's going to feel uncomfortable. Riding an assault bike for, God, a minute long, pushing as hard as you can. Awful.
Yeah.
You feel so uncomfortable, but the reward is just like, and where you go after that, and the sense of accomplishment, and when you push yourself, like, it's ridiculous. And I feel like we're pushed in that maybe a little bit in sports when we're younger, and then as we get older, that kind of shuts off. And nobody wants to feel stagnant in life, no matter what you're doing. Whether you're in the gym, whether you're doing something at work, whether it's with your family, natural progression is good for people.
But that ability to tolerate discomfort and challenge doesn't stop in the gym.
No.
That's like
that's
like how like women are showing up asking for a raise, or like leaving their like shitty ass boyfriend, or like they're setting a boundary with their moms and like, no, I'm not okay with that. Like whatever it is, like that, it's like it spills out into every area of your life, which is why I think it's so important. And I'm not just, I mean, that can be exercise in general. Like it doesn't have to be just lifting or CrossFit. It could be running, it could be yoga or whatever, but it gives you that sense of like empowerment that like, oh, I did this thing here in kind of a safe, controlled environment, and now I can do it other places.
No. I mean, if you were going to tell me 3 years ago or 4 years ago, I'd be sitting on this couch and doing that, or, getting up in front of as many people as we have over the time, like, I would have been like, no. Like, and now it just kind of becomes a part of showing up, and it's comfortable now. But at first it wasn't. It wasn't even kind of comfortable. It was super uncomfortable. You're like, well, you do so. I'm like, well, on the inside, and even when I go to lift a really heavy weight, and I know my heart rate just goes through the roof. It doesn't appear that way, but that's just how I was kind of raised. Like, don't show people your emotion. And I just kind of internally, So, I mean, that's okay. Like, I mean, I always tell people, we all have something. We're all struggling. We're all doing whatever. And just to be empathetic towards other people and to be understanding, and that, you're stepping outside your comfort zone here. Well, maybe this is what's getting you uncomfortable. I mean, God, when we did that competition and Annie would go into some moves and people are like, oh my gosh, she moves that bar so fast. That is her strength. And then when you give her something that's not, then I mean, you give her on that, she's just going, so that's what it does, is you play on your strengths, and man, when you have a weakness, you need to put that weakness in a little bit more often, although you don't want to.
Yeah, but like on that note, like that can also be a never ending. It's like, oh my God, at some point you just have to be like,
understand.
Having weaknesses is like part of being human. And like, I don't have to constantly be in a pursuit of something better. Like you can also just be like, this is enough.
It's not even part of the plan.
Right. Yeah.
On that.
Okay. And I think that I want to wrap it up. I always have a question.
Yes, you
for
do.
The end. Like, I always go around and ask the room a question.
We're getting it.
We're training.
We're like 60 seconds.
That is lovely. And I want to hear, what would you have liked to hear from somebody when you were a teenager? Like, it's very short, or maybe a word that you would have wanted to.
Piece of advice.
Yeah.
We got to wrap it up.
Annie, go.
No.
I'm going to start. I would have liked to hear that my vulnerability is not my weakness. Being vulnerable is not a weakness for me.
I would have liked to have heard that You are perfectly fine who you are.
This is a tough one. You should have given me a little.
I usually don't.
And here's me the thank you.
And
not
now
it. Here's
the
what it
time
is.
and the clock is is going.
Like, just honestly, it's like, and I not that I didn't, just do you, do what makes you happy, and just give it your all.
There you go.
Like, it was that simple for me.
Nice.
You are worthy and you are enough as is.
Wonderful.
Lovely. Well, thank you, ladies.
Yes, thank you so much.
Wonderful.
Let's do this again.
Let's do it again.
You guys, thanks so much for joining us. We hope you enjoyed the conversation. And thank you to Invictus Media for partnering with us and for hosting us. This has been amazing. So shout out to those guys. Follow Raise the Bar Initiative. Follow Annie Brees. Follow Abbie Mork at Inspired Wellness. Follow Invictus Media DSM. Follow Convos with Lola and Annie Woods and Medi Paulus. Peace out.
Bye.
Deuces.